I'm going to tell this like a story, not a lesson. Because what happened between God and Lucifer doesn't feel like a battle to me. It feels like a family issue, the kind that starts small, goes unspoken for too long, and ends with someone leaving the house and never really coming back. This is how it began. Lucifer was created before I ever learned what fear meant. He was made from light, not the blinding kind, but the thoughtful kind. The kind that watches before it speaks. Among all of God's creations, Lucifer noticed patterns others accepted without question. He didn't just obey. He understood why obedience existed. God worked endlessly. Creation unfolded in layers. Order, chaos, beauty, restraint. Lucifer watched God shape existence with patience, letting things develop instead of forcing them into perfection. At first, Lucifer admired this, but admiration slowly became concern. Lucifer believed perfection should be preserved, not risked. When something was flawed, he thought it should be corrected immediately. God, however, allowed flaws to remain. God allowed growth. God allowed time. That difference mattered. Then humanity was created. Humans were fragile, unfinished. They were given freedom knowing they would misuse it. They were allowed to fail without being erased. When they broke rules, God responded with forgiveness instead of final judgment. Lucifer didn't understand that kind of love. To him, rules existed to protect order. Consequences existed to maintain balance. Mercy, when given too freely, felt like favoritism. Lucifer watched God forgive humans again and again, and something shifted. Felt personal. Angels were held to eternal standards. Humans were allowed to stumble and be welcomed back. So Lucifer began to disapprove. Not loudly, not publicly. Like many family disagreements, it started in silence, in observation, in unspoken resentment. Lucifer questioned God. Not out of rebellion, but frustration. Why do they receive mercy? He asked. When they disobey knowingly, why are they allowed what we are not? God answered calmly, because they are learning. Lucifer heard something else. You are expected to already know. That was the problem. Lucifer began to believe God's way was flawed. That love without condition weakened creation. That authority without punishment invited chaos. He wasn't trying to overthrow God, he was trying to correct him. Like an older child who thinks the parent is being too soft. He began to share his concerns with others. Some listened, some agreed. They didn't see it as rebellion either. They saw it as responsibility. But God saw where this path led. God saw that Lucifer's version of justice left no room for healing, only judgment. When Lucifer refused to let go of his certainty, God made a decision no family ever wants to make. Lucifer was cast out, not in rage, not in cruelty, but in sorrow. Lucifer fell carrying one belief with him. If God will not punish wrongdoing, then I will prove the cost of it. Only then did he realize what he had lost. Too late, Lucifer understood that mercy was not weakness, it was patience. That freedom was not disorder, it was trust. But realization without reconciliation turns into bitterness. So Lucifer redirected his purpose. If he could not change God, he would challenge humanity. He would test them, accuse them, expose their failures and say, see, they do not deserve mercy. And this is where the story stops being ancient, because this is still happening. It happens in families where love turns conditional. In parents who confuse control with care, in siblings who feel overlooked and grow resentful, in people who believe punishment is the same as justice. God and Lucifer stop speaking, but their argument lives on. Mercy versus consequence, patience versus control, forgiveness versus pride. Every time we choose to hold a grudge instead of listening, we echo Lucifer. Every time we forgive when it would be easier to condemn, we echo God. So when people talk about heaven and hell, I don't think of places. I think of a family that broke apart because no one could agree on how love should work. Lucifer didn't fall because he was evil. He fell because he couldn't accept love that didn't follow rules. And God didn't cast him out because he stopped loving him, but because sometimes, even in families, love cannot survive pride. That argument never ended. It just moved into us.